We're going live. We on YouTube. We're on YouTube. We are also on Blog Talk Radio, our national call-in show. We are also on Facebook. Facebook, as we are also having our second um, segment of the Black Business Promotion tonight. So we basically have a lot to do tonight because we're going to be talking also about gun violence. We're going to be talking about Jonathan Pentland, who tried to, harass and assault this black man and young boy. I think he was around 19, 20 years old in the small town of South Carolina. We got a lot of things to talk about today. Okay, April is the white supremacist month. They have basically decided that April was going to be their month. Okay, April is the white supremacist month. They have decided that April was going to be the time into which they're going to basically start to bring violence into society. Every April, watch out because the white supremacists are going to try to kill somebody. They're going to always have a victim. April is their month because April is the history of the white supremacist month. Okay. So today on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show, we're going to be talking a lot about, what's going on in the country. But we also doing our second segment of minding your own black business. We're going to be allowing you to call in to talk about this subject or to talk about promoting your black business. So we're going to be doing part 2 here. Lawyer Henderson podcast show starts now, but our main topic is stand your black ground. We're pulling up on the white supremacists. That's today on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, folks. Like, share, subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like, share, subscribe. Thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. 516-418-5867. That's the number to call in. We have our segment today as well as promoting black business. We got a lot of things to discuss today because of a lot of mass shootings and police brutality. And these white boys are getting out of hand and out of control. Today we're going to be talking specifically about the white soldier Jonathan Pentland, a soldier from Fort Jackson in South Carolina. Well, a video of him went viral showing him pushing on a black young man. I think this guy was like around 19, 20 years old. Although he was charged by police, according to these news outlets, the white supremacist news outlets, another report came out and also showed that the police is now protecting them because a lot of black folks showed up at his home. So we're going to be going into that here in just a moment on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Man, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of breaking news throughout the country. And then, of course, if you want to basically promote your business, come ahead and call in. We're doing our part 2 of promoting your black business. I'm Lawyer Henderson. I'm with the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Thanks for joining me today. We are excited to have you with us. Thumbs up, family, like, share, and subscribe. The number is 516-418-5867 to speak with the host here if you want to talk about any of the subjects that we just mentioned. Dante Wright, another young man shot and killed by police. We also have another man shot and killed by police by the name of Adam Salido. I think this is an Indian guy shot by police in Chicago. Then we have a 7-year-old girl shot and killed by police. I mean, well, shot and killed. They said allegedly by a suspect. But have you noticed that in Chicago, a lot of these killings are ending up just basically, it's been weird. And we now basically believe that the police are behind some of these shootings. But we're also going to be talking about mass shootings. 3 people are dead and others were seriously injured in shooting early Sunday at a crowded Wisconsin bar, prompted a state search for the lead one state search. The state search for at least one lone gunman, who authorities says had targeted these individuals. You understand? And this is not the first time this happened at this bar, this Summers House Tavern in Kenosha, Wisconsin. This happened around 12:42 a.m. So you got that. Then you got the FedEx shooting with 8 people dead. White supremacist young dude at 19 years old by the name of Brandon Scott Hold. His family said they tried to get him help, but unfortunately they didn't. He shot 8 people at a local FedEx stand. So we got a lot of things. This is the white supremacist month is in April. And in April, there are going to be all kinds of tragedies. And we're witnessing this because April is when the white supremacists like to celebrate. They like to do their rituals of killing and murder and violence. But this also helps Joe Biden to put in more stricter gun laws. And of course, those gun laws are going to be aimed at Black people. They're not going to be aimed at the white supremacists. Remember, they take the white supremacists to Burger King after they get finished shooting and killing people. Somebody talk Black to me. 516-418-5867. That's the number to call. We're also taking your calls for your Black businesses here. Our topic is Stand Your Black Ground. We're pulling up on the white supremacists here. Later on in the show, we'll be talking about Jonathan Pentland. Jonathan Pentland was the white man who basically tried to berate and harass and intimidate a young Black guy who was walking on the sidewalk, and he came out there talking about, I'll move you and I'll do this. And start pushing on this guy. We're talking about that. And a bunch of Black folks rolled up on him, and now they're saying that the police got them in a hiding spot. Okay. So we knew that they were basically wasn't that tough. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the Derek Chauvin trial. The judge in the trial tried to warn the prosecutors that he will have a mistrial if you bring back up one of the defense's witness. You see, they're already trying to get him off. And so basically, that's what they're trying to do. They're wanting Derek Chauvin to walk because, of course, this is anti-Black hatred. They hate us. So therefore, they're going to find some way. They're trying to really get this man off. And yesterday, the judge tried to pull a little stunt there. But of course, he basically still did not allow it to happen when the prosecutors just wanted to ask one of the previous defense witnesses a question, which was a good question for the prosecution here. So they're doing closing arguments now, and they are basically going to be wrapping up this trial. Okay. And so we're going to basically be monitoring that as a lot of other people is. But in the same community was breaking news. A white woman, I don't know if she's Derek Chauvin's cousin or something, or ex-girlfriend, but she worked at the police department in another small town. And she went out and shot a black man by the name of Dante Wright from Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Okay? So I keep trying to tell black folks the white supremacists in April really like to show out because all of them get on cold around April because this is the white supremacist month where, any black person, any black victim is good. Likely the white supremacists like these soft targets. Okay. But I can give credit to NBC News, even though we're talking about Dante Wright. The white supremacist media is also going to throw in Adam Toledo, which is fine, because there was a video on him where these two race soldiers stopped him. He had his hands up, and they killed him as well. So we're going to be talking about those two cases, Dante Wright, Adam Toledo. It says that the death of Dante in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, and 13-year-old Adam Toledo in Chicago continue to spark outrage overnight, with some protests in cities across the country turning violent Friday night. Bottles were thrown at officers in Brooklyn Center. 2 people were arrested in Chicago. Multiple fires were set in Portland, where authorities declared a riot, and windows were smashed in Oakland. This is how demonstration in those cities unfolded, as they should. You see, we have to stop allowing the white supremacists to dictate as to how we're going to be protesting out here. You see, the white supremacist media, they like to say, oh, march, this is a march. See, they like to use those types of words, but these are always going to be protests. And whether we smashing up buildings or whatever, this is basically because the white supremacists have not been touched. And we often have a wise man who had once said, if black people have to bleed, then white people should have to bleed. When he made that statement, it was very important. Chris Como from CNN was quoted as saying that police violence will stop when white kids start getting shot and killed in the streets. You understand? But the news article goes on to say that in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, nearly 100 people were arrested Friday night in Brooklyn Center. Wright was fatally shot by an officer. Now, I told y'all they don't really arrest all these folks. The news media just lie. What they do is they arrest them, then they'll put them on a bus or something like that, and then after the protest is gone, they'll release them. A lot of times they do that. Okay, just depending on the city. Now, they may have done it in this case, but like I know downtown Atlanta, when we had the George Floyd case, they let those people go because it was just too many people. It will overwhelm the staff. So they just put them on a bus and then let them go. But the article goes on to say here that the Hennepin County Sheriff's David Hutchinson condemned the violence during a news conference, saying that it is not going to be tolerated by myself or this operation. We need to grieve. We don't need to have more problems and destruction, he said. So we need to grieve. We don't need to have more problems and destruction, he said. John Harrington, the commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, said that protests began with a peaceful march involved about 250 people. By Friday evening, the crowd grew to roughly 500, with some pushing against an exterior fence surrounding the city's police station and throwing glass bottles at officers. Okay. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button if you can hear me. You can also call in at 516-418-5867 as well. You're listening and looking at the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. We're going to be taking your calls here in just a moment, but we're going to continue our coverage on the killing and the murder of Dante Wright. Now, as you see all around these issues, whether it be white police officers or white mass shooters, it is white men, as activist Sean King pointed out, are the single most dangerous terrorists that we have domestically in this country. The ideal here is that when these people get guns, that's the only way that they can show their manhood, because they are not able to use these two right here. They're not able to fight. They're cowards. They're only going to basically approach another man with a gun in their hand. You understand? This senseless violence that happened at this FedEx shooting, where this Brendan Scott Holt, who killed these 8 people, and we're not knowing if he used to work there. We don't know, whatever. But I mean, just look at random after random after random shooting. Somebody has to be putting these guys up to it. You see, we can already say that law enforcement, basically in Chicago specifically, is behind these shootings. Like I just told you, not only did Chicago police shoot a 13-year-old boy by the name of Adam Salito, but there's also a 7-year-old girl who just got shot outside a McDonald's. So we're trying to look and see, and this mayor is playing games. This Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she's playing games. She knows that this Chicago Police Department is corrupt. She has not fired not one officer. And besides, I think one of the commissioner, I mean the chief, the chief of police, or whatever his name is, or whatever his title is supposed to be. But she's fired him. That's the only person. But the race soldiers in the Chicago police, she has not done anything to these people. So race soldier, the white female, see, this all harkens back to Betty Shelby in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You see, when these people lose, they should be losing their pensions on not only going to jail and getting prosecuted, but they should be losing their pensions when they are found killing or shooting, or they lose their job for having shot and killed a black person, any person. But the article from NBC News goes on to say that Dante Wright was stopped for expired plates, but driving while black may be his real crime, and that's very important to understand. The shocking video that played over it and over and over again. You see, the biracial community that basically thought that some of them think that they aren't black, finally getting a wake-up call. And then, of course, the Indian or the Indian community, which also try to undermine black society sometimes by selling us all kinds of nasty food in these communities. They thought that they was going to go unscathed as well. And now there's one of them out here getting shot and killed. Adam Salito, I think, was an Indian guy. So we have a huge problem of white supremacists on the attack. Not to mention that the Asian community is buying into this propaganda. And the Asian community is buying into this propaganda. No, Black people, we need the black community to understand, blah, 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 blah. And yet all you seeing is white terrorists, domestic terrorists around doing this. And that's the reason why today's topic is stand your black ground. We're pulling up on the white supremacists. And the ideal here is that, see, they're using guns. Black people have not started to use guns. But in self-defense, you are required to use guns. To stand your ground, stand your black ground means that the white supremacist is going to have a weapon. So you better make sure that you're licensed and you got your weapons. So we have at one point where we had to all start wearing bulletproof vests. The ideal here is that the white supremacists, this is their month. And now that you got Jim Crow Joe Biden in office, they are basically going to be bold. That's the reason why people are up talking about getting Trump out of office. That is nothing. Getting Trump out of office is nothing. Now that you have him out of office, you're dealing with Jim Crow Joe Biden. And we already know that Jim Crow Joe Biden is a white supremacist. He's undercover. And I've always asked white folks, and they get upset about it, is that you say you're not racist, but you always find a way to put a racist white person in office. They cannot question. They don't have an answer for that. Okay, they'll go down to your marches. They'll go down to your protests. They'll even sing along. They will even go to bed with you. But at the end of the day, it is still I'm white and I say so. Because they got other white people and other people in their group that is benefiting and is going to maintain the white supremacist ideology. And they benefit from that. So it's not, that's why we say in the black media, it's not about just throwing your monuments away. You understand? It's not about just basically condemning the white supremacists. It's not even talking about passing legislation, which Jim Crow Joe Biden is doing. The problem still remains is that white people will stop their killing of us not only when these race soldiers are punished, but when their kids start dying in the streets as well. That's the only way that's this going to stop. Because that is the problem that we're having. Their children is not dying, but ours are dying in the black community. Even some Asian, their community have some people dying. Now you see Indian people, Hispanics, black and Hispanics, we've always been, killed in the streets at the hands of police. That is the issue. It goes on to say here from NBC News that the man, Dante Wright, 20, who died Sunday after a run-in with police in a suburb of Minneapolis, was driving an SUV with expired license plate. And he also ran afoul of Minnesota law that prohibits motorists from hanging air fresheners and other items from their rear view mirrors. You see, this is we're getting shot and killed for just basic traffic stuff. You see, these are things that are irrelevant. They don't have anything to do with crime. They're only, what they call here is what they call them is, you don't have a proper registration and things of that nature. Those are all just petty stuff that you get straight, and that's it. We're dying over small stuff like that. It goes on to say here that he was pulled over for having expired registration on vehicle, Brooklyn Center Police Chief Tim Godden said Monday. When the officer went over, an item hanging from the rearview mirror was spotted. It was after that, Gatton said that the officers discovered that a gross misdemeanor warrant for Wright's arrest had been issued. Minutes later, a gunshot rang out, and Wright joined the ranks of other black motorists who have died after having been pulled over by police, a group that includes Philando Castile, 32, who was fatally shot in 2016 by a suburban Minneapolis police officer after he was stopped for a broken taillight. His final moments were recorded in a powerful video. Gaten said, Gatna, I hope I said this right, Gatna said Monday that he believes the officer meant to pull out a taser in Sunday's shootings, but instead pulled her service weapon. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is standing trial in Florida death, leaving the Twin City on high alert and bracing for more mass demonstration like those that followed Floyd's death last year. Wright's family had hired civil rights lawyer Benjamin Crump and led the attorneys Floyd family to represent them as well. See, every time that Benjamin Crump shows up, it's always let's get a quick settlement, settlement. You see, we have to now in the black community, we'll start to now questioning these families of these victims. You see, Tamir Wright's mother was right, and she did something that was very important. That she fired Benjamin Crump, and the minute that she fired him, the news media did not want to cover no more on her son's case anymore. The police stopped wanting to seek justice because these people like him and Lee Merritt, these are ambulance chasers, and they are always bringing them in for high profile situations where black people are getting shot and killed, so they can finance another black person's death, and that's why they are brought in for. Crump said that Dante Wright is yet another young black man killed at the hands of those who have sworn to protect and serve all of us, and not just not just the whiteness among us. See, the problem with black folks is that black people like to play this "oh, I love everybody" game. Okay, and as a wise teacher once said about that love stuff, that's what getting shot and killed, people getting shot and killed on these streets. Because we think that we're living in an integrated society. We think white folks are going to be fair. We out there shaking our booties, all out there having fun and turning up. And then when the white supremacists shoot one of us, now we don't, basically, we're afraid to do something. You understand? The ideal here is that these race soldiers are going to continue to do this. And they have been emboldened because they got the support of the police. And that's the reason why we got to start producing our own justice. We have to start showing up at these race soldiers' house. And we're going to be getting into the conversation about Jonathan Pentland here in a minute. Not only do we have to, I'm telling you, that's true. When white kids start dying, that's when we're going to get justice. The article goes on to say about Crump, though, is that he said that Dante Wright is yet another young black man killed at the hand of those who have sworn to protect and serve all of us, not just the whitest among us. As Minneapolis and the rest of the country continue to deal with the tragic killing of George Floyd, now we must also mourn the loss of his young man and father. This level of lethal force was entirely preventable and inhumane, Crump said. Studies have found that black drivers are far more likely to be stopped by police than white drivers are. Not only that, but once they are stopped, black people are searched nearly twice as often as white drivers, and the searches are less likely to yield illegal drugs and other contraband than searches of white drivers. Brooklyn Center Mayor Mike Elliott, who is black, said the shooting of Wright was heartbreaking and unfathomable. Now, here's the thing about these black mayors like him and Lori Lightfoot. All of these people know that punishing these race soldiers is key. But then yet, when it comes to the court system, they go out and find these white supremacist juries to get these fools off. Okay, that's the reason why their system is not working for us, because you see, long time ago, we made a decision to integrate into the society. And so now, when we made that decision, we made a decision also to do what? To take the curse that comes along with integration. Goes on to say here that our hearts are aching right now. We are in pain right now, and we recognize this couldn't happen at a worse time right now, he said. Elliott appeared on NBC's Today Show on Tuesday. In this country, if you're black and you get pulled over by police, you have a very much higher chance of being dead just because you're black and just because you're encountering police, he said. That is the fact we have to all wrestle with. Now, that's the ideal is it's not about wrestling with. This is the truth. You see, why elect these politicians, these mayors, these black police chief, and all these folks when you're not going to do a damn thing? Because the system that we are under is not a system of so-called democracy. It is a system of I'm white and I say so. And all the laws that you think you see that you're reading right there, those laws don't apply to white folks. They only apply to you. That's the issue here. And that's the issue that black people don't want to confront. Somebody talk black to me. The ideal here is that, of course, this could have been avoided. We all know that. White media keep telling us everything over and over and over again that we already know. Of course, that could have been avoided. But it's time for black people to start producing their own justice, stand your own black ground. You got to start basically taking it to these race soldiers. 516-418-5867 is the number to call in. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. The Lawyer Henderson podcast show is on here. We are on Facebook. We're taking your calls at 516-418-5867 here. And it says, stand your black ground. We're pulling up on the white supremacists. And that's what we're doing. That's the reason why the white supremacists are using guns now. Because they know that the system they set up is going to protect them. That's the reason why when you go out there protesting like we do, we have whites and other people out there, but we basically have to basically do something different. See, protesting is okay, looting and rioting, I have no problem with that, because as Dr. King pointed out, rioting, that comes from the voice of the unheard. So I get that. But we have to start producing our own justice. You see, in self-defense, you have a right to have a gun and shoot that gun when you think that there's a threat, producing your own justice. But most importantly, we have to also teach black young men as to not try to argue with the white supremacists when you're stopped by them, because you are basically behind enemy lines. As our brother Dr. Khalid Muhammad taught us, you basically shut your mouth when they're basically telling you what you did. Because I would rather for you to go to jail and to be handcuffs than you basically ending up dead. Let the race soldiers put you into the squad car and take you on to jail. At least you'll be alive. Okay. Okay. You might have a ticket or outstanding warrant. Fine. Okay. Just let them take you in instead of just arguing. We got a lot of black folks that hey, I had I ain't already paid that ticket. I've already got my license updated, and it should be in the system. You should get your shit fixed. See, you see, we got to stop arguing with these race soldiers. These are not police officers by a long stretch. These are race soldiers, as our brother Nellie Fuller taught us. These are race soldiers. These are not law enforcement, because law enforcement officers who are very professional, they're basically are taught to understand the law and to apply it. They know how to diffuse issues and situations. But you got race soldiers that's coming from white supremacist organizations, and they have infiltrated the police department, they've infiltrated the FBI and all these other kinds of law enforcement agencies. That's the reason why we are also criticizing the FBI on their statistics here, talking about black people or black men specifically attacking Asians. We're talking about the same FBI that has that had basically set up a lot of our civil rights leaders who had killed or who were behind the murder of these civil rights leaders, and who basically engaged in quote and tail pro or whatever to basically, to destroy black organizations. So we're going to basically look at this. We're going to continue to report on these race soldiers. But in April is where it's where it all it's the white supremacist month, because in April is where it like to basically show their tail. And that's the reason why you got Jim Crow Joe Biden out there talking about laws and stuff, because he is now going to be ready to pass laws, but it's not going to be laws to punish these race soldiers. It's going to be laws to punish you and me. You understand? And that's the reason why you don't buy into what they say on the news media. See, they've been helping the police to propagandize their racism towards us in the black community, and labeling us criminals and dealing with us differently than they do the white suspects. Here you got all these white men out here shooting and killing people in mass violence and murders and killing, and yet the race soldiers take them to Burger King. But then you have a black man driving down the street with his hand up, and then he turns around and you say, "Oh, I thought he had a gun in his hand." You see, this is what we're talking about. So now we have an issue here of police violence, an issue of racism and white supremacy here. But an NBC News goes on and talk about that about 1,000 people came together Friday evening at a park on Chicago's Northwest Side to protest Toledo's death. The rally was held one day after body camera video of the shooting was released. Some people in the crowd after Friday's protest held signs that read, "Stop killing kids, CPD. Can't be reformed," referring to Chicago Police Department, according to NBC Chicago. Others chanted, "No justice, no peace," as brass band played music. Let me go back here on the report because I'm getting conflicting information. I thought he was an Indian guy, but they're saying that he is actually Hispanic. So they're saying that he's Hispanic. They're saying that um, Adam Toledo was Hispanic. Okay. But it goes on to say that reporter Natalie Martinez said there was a few tense moments between marchers and police, where overall the gathering stayed peaceful. Chicago police said 2 people were arrested. Charges are pending, according to officials. In Oakland, California, after just Chicago, a peaceful march for the death of Wright in Toledo was held earlier Friday in Oakland, but things took a violent turn when protesters set small fires, smashed windows, and tagged businesses with spray paint, according to NBC Bay Area. The city police department said in a tweet that the violence protest involved roughly 300 people, and community members and police officers were injured. Oakland said it will continue to call for peaceful protests, but told businesses, and watch this now, thumbs up, but told businesses and residents who live downtown that they should turn their surveillance cameras on. Okay, so now you got the white media talking about, oh, the White House is under pressure and we need more tougher gun laws, and people in this city is calling for tougher gun laws. No, that's not what it's about. Gun laws is not what it's about. It's about punishing the race soldiers. And you do that also by punishing the white supremacist police officers. That's how you stop it. You see, white people love playing games with us about their whole politics and their whole game. It's not about people going out there shooting, going out there just with guns and violence. It's about these race soldiers that y'all allowing to obtain guns to shoot people. Like I said, April is the white supremacist month. You see, it goes on to say in Portland, Oregon, that in Portland, police declare a riot Friday night after authorities says protesters smashed windows and burglarized local businesses. The protest came in response to the killing of Wright in Toledo, as well as the death of a man in his 30s who was shot and killed by police in the city of Lentz Park. Deputy Police Chief Chris Davis told reporters earlier Friday that he did not know if the man, who was white, had pointed a weapon at the officers. According to Davis, one officer, one officer fired a device that shoots non-lethal projectiles, and another fired his gun. That officer, who has not been named, is on paid administrative leave. See, they always putting these white race soldiers on paid administrative leave. See, but when you're a black officer, you immediately charged, you're immediately brought up on state and federal charges when you're black police officers. See, these black police officers know in the police department, y'all have no real rights, the same as these race soldiers have when y'all shoot a white person down. Shout out to Muhammad Noor. But the article goes on to say, though, that by Friday evening, things escalated when some people in the crowd hit officers with sticks and chased them. Police said they used smoke canisters, pepper spray, and a rubber ball distraction device to help disperse the crowd. Portland police said in a press release that 4 people were arrested on numerous charges. One was released until further investigation can be conducted. So these white supremacists are not only killing black people, they're killing Asians, they're killing Indian people, they're killing Hispanic people. white supremacists have been killing every other race, and other races are sitting there talking about, you black folks, y'all need to stop the violence. That's the issue here. Because they have become white supremacist buffer class for so long that even when the white supremacists hurt one of their own, it's about just, let's stop the hate, blah, 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 blah. We need the black community to understand, blah, 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 blah. And yet you don't speak out against the white supremacists. That's the reason why the black media, the grassroots media, we go directly to the source. That's the reason why the white supremacist media hates us. You understand? Somebody talk black to me. We have to look at this. We have to start producing our own justice. Stand your own black ground. You know when these white supremacists talk about, I'm going to stand my ground? No, you stand your ground and make sure that if you're in a tussle with these white race soldiers, you make sure that you grab that gun. You understand? Because Ahmaud Arbery would have been here if he basically wouldn't allow this man to basically take that gun. And we get scared and offended. No, but we'll go ahead and deal with the courts. I'll deal with the courts later, but I'm taking that gun away from you and shoot you first. So you got to be able to understand what these race soldiers are about. And so these white supremacists are bold in April because April is the white supremacist celebration of white supremacy in general. And so they're turning up everywhere, and they're going to start going after these soft targets. They like to go after black kids. They like to go after elderly women. The only time that they go after a man is when they have a gun in their hand. That's what they're equals. It's equal when a white dude have a gun in his hand, because he's not going to be able to fight you then, unless he's picking on some, puny little white dude. Black dude. Somebody talk black to me. So that is what we're doing. This is turn up summer. We have turn up summer. It's going to be a little bit different. You see, when videos and stuff go viral, as the white supremacists try to, threaten and try to berate or punk one of our kids or our women or some kids, our old grandma or somebody, or old grandpa, people are now recording it. You understand? They're now recording it. So there's no way for the race soldiers who trying to bully somebody could get away from this. Now watch that man in viral video faces charges, according to the Associated Press. Columbia, South Carolina. A white Army non-commissioned officer depicted in a viral video accosting and shoving a black man in South Carolina neighborhood have been charged with third-degree assault. Jonathan Pentland, 42, was charged Wednesday and listed as detained in the Richland County Jail and issued a personal recondence bond, according to online jail records, which did not show him as having an attorney. The video posted Monday by a woman on Facebook and shared thousands of times shows a man identified as Pitman demanding that a black man leave the neighborhood before threatening him with physical violence. Now, this black dude was, I think, probably like 19, 20, 21, somewhere around there. You're in the wrong neighborhood, Pitman, standing on the sidewalk, can be heard saying to the other man before using an expletive. Hey, I ain't playing with you. I'm about to show you what I can do. That's where it's good. Now, let's stop right here. Because, see, this Pentland do not own the sidewalk. And that's where he was walking. He kept on saying, we're in a tight-knit community. Blah, 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 blah. So he going to curse at the young man. And then his wife got involved. Goes on to say, according to Sherelle Johnson, who posted the video, the incident happened in a subdivision of Summit. which had a Columbia's address but is technically outside the city limits. The video does not show what started the conflict. Johnson did not immediately respond to messages from the Associated Press seeking further details. End quote. Good, because you don't want to speak to the white media before you speak to grassroots first, because the white media likes to change everything around. And that's the reason why you talk to the black media first. Goes on to say, though, that the recording begins with Pentland, a U.S. Army Sergeant First Class, asking the black man what he's doing in the area. The black man said he was simply walking and not bothering anyone. Throughout the 3-minute video, Pitman continuously demands that the other man leave the neighborhood, getting in his face and at one point pushing the man, who almost falls to the ground. Let's go. Walk away, he said. I'm about to do something to you. You better start walking right now. At the end of the video, a woman who Pitman identified as his wife can be heard telling the other man that he had picked a fight with some random young lady in the neighborhood, a claim that the black man then denies. Johnson said authorities arrived at the scene and only gave Pitman a citation for malicious injury to property for slapping the man's phone out of his hand and cracking it. Officials at Fort Jackson, the U.S. Army's largest basic training facility, said Wednesday they were looking into the incident on its Twitter accounts. Base officials also said that the U.S. Department of Justice Authority were investigating as well. Now, they're not going to do anything. They're just basically out here with all this line talking about investigation. This is only they only stopped them with a misdemeanor charge. It's real soft. It's nothing. Third degree, anything. When white folks start talking about sacking in third degree something, they're already playing games with you. It just basically is simple math, really. Second, third, fourth. Come on. It goes on to say here that according to social media accounts connected to Pentland, he had been stationed at Fort Jackson since 2019 and has worked as a drill sergeant at the garrison, a 53,000-acre complex that trains 50% of all soldiers and 60% of women who had entered the Army each year. So this man, I seen the video. He basically tried to punk him and stuff. What you doing over here? What you doing over there? You know how the race soldiers, they like to basically bully their soft targets, like as I mentioned. What you doing in my neighborhood? What you doing in here? Like they own the property, like they own the community, like they own that subdivision. That's what they like to do. They like to try to police in areas just because they got some type of house there and stuff like that. But you don't own the sidewalk. You don't own the streets. Okay? This man can walk anywhere he wants to. According to social media accounts connected to Pentland, he has been stationed at Fort Jackson since 2019 and has worked as a drill sergeant at the garrison. So here's the thing, though. You had some black folks pull up at his home, though. And Pentland and his loudmouth fat-ass wife did not show up outside. For what I understand, they basically, I think that they snuck out that night afterwards. They said that he was arrested, but then they said, so there was conflicting stories. At one point, he was arrested. Another point, he snuck out of the back door, him and his family. Then you have now a new reports coming out and saying that the police got them in protective custody or hiding them in a disclosed location. So he got arrested, but then they put him in a protective custody here where nobody can get to him because a bunch of black folks showed up and say, okay, come on outside and make us move off the sidewalk. And so he didn't want none of that work, It goes on to say here, though, that earlier this year, the Department of Justice announced that Beagle would take over as Command General for a Fort Drum, New York, to be succeeded at Fort Jackson by Bridge General Patrick R. Michaels, and official transfer data has not been announced. Now, so here's the thing: I don't care about his army record. I don't care about what he's going and who was this and who and all this crap. Right now, he is a non-commissioned soldier. So anything that the army says, we don't care about that right now. What we're caring about is what these fools are going to do in that city. The police, the mayor of that small town. What are they going to do? This Pitman do? These charges that they got him on right now is only, I think, Pentland did not immediately respond to an email message seeking comments. If convicted, he faces up to 30 days in jail and a fine, okay, for his assault. So that's nothing. He can pay that. That's only $50, you know. So he got up to 30 days in jail, and the fool probably gonna get no jail time. So that's no punishment. Goes on to say that State Senator Mia McLeod, who represents the area, said Wednesday on the Senate floor that she had spent much of the previous days in discussions about the incident and planned to meet with the sheriff later in the day. So we continue to see the race soldiers getting bold. See, like I said, this is April. April is the white supremacist turn up month. You know, they like to come out, they like to find you when you're just walking by yourself or you're walking in the neighborhood. They like to look at, see old women and stuff like that and push them down. They're everywhere. The white supremacists like to turn up in April. That's why you have to be on your P's and Q's and P's. And then on top of that, they got the police officers who are the race soldiers who are also actually helping them in these particular situations. The police is backing them up. Just like I just read the article where the police is now they have put Pentland and his wife and his family. They took him to an undisclosed location because some black folks showed up. Now they need some protection here. And that's what we have to do. We have to start coming out. We have to start going to these race soldiers' house and tell them, come on outside. Like they used to tell us back in the day. They used to tell our ancestors, come on out here, boy. You know what I'm saying? And lynch us. There'd be a gang of them. But there was some black dudes who was like, hell, I don't need the rest of the crowd. He can come on out now. And then I'll fight him and beat his ass. We had some brothers who was ready to turn up on Pitman. And Pentland and his old fat sloppy wife was basically, rescued by other race soldiers. You see, we got to start playing games with the race soldiers. The race soldiers are basically playing games with us. They're shooting and killing us, and then they're getting off by this court system that we got. See, black people are out here wanting to play. They want to go out there and club all week and stuff. You don't got time to be partying when these race soldiers are out here killing you. It's all right to enjoy your life, but hey, when you get in the jam with these race soldiers, now you want the black community. You're gonna do all like these black families out there. Y'all meet up with Ben Crump, and then next thing you know, y'all try to remove yourself away from the black people who are out here protesting for your family to get justice. And now you working with Ben Crump so y'all can get a check. Mm-mm. And see, this is the reason why we're looking at these families. Every time Ben Crump is out there or Lee Merritt out there, a settlement is coming real quick. And so what this is doing is financing the murders and killings of black people when that happens. Somebody talk black to me here. So that's what we have to do. We have to start producing justice. We have to start showing up at the race soldiers' home. Start showing up at their home and getting them that work. And they're not going to come outside. They're cowards. They're going to, like I said, they're going to mess with these soft targets. These white boys go out and shoot up these Places like FedEx and all these other places, 9 times out of 10, they was picked on at school. They didn't think their parents loved them enough. So we have to be very cautious about these folks carrying guns and weapons. You got to be very, very careful. You have to get your gun license to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. So that's what we mean about not only producing justice, we mean stand your black ground. You have a right to defend yourself. Forget European laws. It's a God-given right for you to defend yourself when these race soldiers come out here and try to attack you. Okay, I'll deal with the court later, but killing me, okay, we're going to basically take that gun away from you first. And so I can get you first before you get me. Having some race soldier out there thinking that he's going to get away with murder of one of my family members. No. Won't happen. The ideal here is that these race soldiers are they're everywhere. And like I said, they're basically attacking soft targets. See the Asians that was here in Atlanta at the spa, that white dude attacked them because they were soft targets. And then on top of that, he was a coward because he had to use a gun. And so we have to look at this. The white supremacists are getting desperate now. Their numbers are dwindling, they're dropping like flies with this COVID virus, and then they're trying to then put it up on us, saying that black people got COVID and all this old stuff. And you got black people out there talking about, yeah, y'all need to take that vaccine and stuff. They got Dr. Fauci right now who's admitting that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that was causing people to get these blood clots could make it worse in a sense. Foolish. You can't listen to these black celebrities because these black celebrities, these people are on the white supremacist payroll. Not all of them are going to lie to you, but most of them are they're going to do whatever the white supremacists want them to do. And that's the reason why you have to stand your black ground. You got to basically produce your own justice. Okay? We basically are given the names now of these race soldiers and calling them outside. Yeah, you want to pump this little guy, this black dude who just looked like he played video games overnight at somebody at his friend's house, and now you want to punk him like you big and bad. Okay, all right, so let's show up at your house. And then this coward sneaking it back off the back door. See, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about producing justice. You see, the white supremacists and their police staff and the police department, they're not going to produce justice for us. You had the Sheriff Locke out here talking about, well, when we saw the video, we were working with the community, and then that's when we came and arrested him, and blah, blah, blah. We want to thank the community, blah, blah. You didn't do anything until the black folks showed up at the doorsteps. Sheriff Locke, that's when you did something. You see, we have to start playing games with the white supremacists. The white supremacists are getting more bolder. They're getting more bolder, but they are making mistakes because they're getting what? More desperate. You see, white power basically is limiting itself. Their numbers are dwindling. They don't have enough people to rule all over the world like they used to have. And so therefore producing justice means that black people got to get scared. We got to stop being afraid and scared of dying. Everybody's going to die. Everybody's going to die. All that, shit, let's go to the club now. I ain't gonna go to no mar. Shit. Y'all let them black folk go out there and do that. No, not me. Shit. I like white daddy and white mommy. I'll let them do whatever they want to. Shit. But Sheriff Leon Locke goes on to say the soldier was arrested around 8:30 a.m. and was booked in the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. You see, now I wonder if he was booked in the Album S. Glenn Detention Center because of his arrest, or was he booked there because he basically that the sheriff department feared that he was going to get his tail kicked. You see, that's the problem with the white supremacist police officers. They just shoot and kill you because they're afraid to get their what? Butt kicked. You understand? And so in the reality, they pull out guns and stuff. So these mass shootings here, like in Indiana and Texas and Chicago and Wisconsin and all these places, this is another way for Jim Crow Joe Biden to start saying, oh, we need more gun control. And so that the white supremacists now are able to basically use their guns, and then they're going to pass legislation, what? Trying to take away our rights and put more black people in jail because of their propaganda within the law. You see, the white supremacists, see, Joe Biden has a history of writing legislation that targets black for so long. That's the reason why we don't trust this man. You had a lot of black folks out there talking about we need to get Trump out of office, we need the Democrats back in there. And now look at what we're going through. We're going through a huge issue here in the black community where we're becoming victims now of these race soldiers. We're losing loved ones because of the white supremacists. And we understand who they were when Trump was in office. But now black people have to deal with the LGBT community. They got to deal with all kinds of people. Okay. All right. So Blog Talk Radio is informing me that the phone lines may not be working here. Let me see something. Trying to get a call from area code 3013. Hold on. All right. So phone lines are down right here. You'll try to call back area code 313. But so this is an interesting conversation. So when the black folks pulled up on that porch, we pulled up at that race soldiers' home ready to fight. Now you had some people in the crowds talking about you don't want to go to jail now. We gotta stop worrying about going to jail. Okay? We gotta stop worrying about going to jail. When these race soldiers try to attack one of our loved ones or black people in general, all that worried about going to jail, who cares? You shouldn't be basically ashamed about going to jail anyway, because if you're black, you're already in jail. The ideal here is that the white supremacists like these soft targets. And so when we pull up on them, now they get all scared, and they basically now need the protection from the white supremacist race soldiers, also known as the police. See, the police is what the white supremacists rely upon because they don't have any other protection. They can't fight themselves. So the police give them the extra protection that they need in order to continue their white supremacist attitude. And that's what we're talking about here today. But that's the reason why we as black folks, as I said, start to produce your own justice. You have the right to stand your own black ground, regardless of what they're saying. So that's what we have to understand here, ladies and gentlemen. Stand your own black ground. And minding your own black businesses. We'll try to get that segment here for you as well. If we can get the phone lines working here, go ahead and hold on. Yeah, stand your own black ground. Hit that thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. You're listening to the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. We're on our nationwide program here. Foolish American Politics. Let's discuss the issues. The book from the bookstore is in some of the bookstores now. And we're also Got the shirts available as well. $25 off. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, family. White soldier Jonathan Pentland, a soldier from Fort Jackson in South Carolina, goes viral after pushing and berating a black teen or a black young man. They're saying that he's not a black teen, that he was around 19 or 20, 21, around there. But even if he was that age, the problem is that this soldier was still big. He's in the army. He knows all kinds of ways militarily to do something to this young man. This young man it was a soft target for him. And we have to start watching out because, like I said, the white supremacists are getting desperate here. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Now watch this. This whole propaganda about black people killing Asians is the way to remove and deflect away from the reality of white supremacy and the attacking of black people, Asian, and other people. The white supremacist media like to play games here. And as I told you, we got to start producing our own justice against these white race soldiers. The ideal here is that black people have basically dropped the ball when it comes to producing our own justice towards these white supremacists. So I was basically excited to see those black people show up at this man's home along with his fat wife. And I was surprised to see them, basically attempted to produce justice. And that's very important. Okay. All right. So let's talk about black businesses as a little bit before we wrap up here the show. Don't forget that you can leave your comments on Blog Talk Radio or live in the chat room if the phone lines are not working today. So we've been talking about black businesses trying to form. There's a lot of incentives for businesses in general out here. The government basically have a lot of incentives, and so people have been starting businesses online. So they basically, we talked to Jeanette Taylor last Thursday. She has a company that she's been running for a long time. I think she said 27 years. She's all around across the United States. We had others that are basically signing up for the Facebook page where they have their own independent business online. You can check that out as well. We're going to put a link at the bottom of this YouTube page regarding the black businesses that wants to be heard on this podcast but wasn't given an opportunity to call in tonight on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Or last Thursday when we were on as well. So minding your own black business means that we have to basically start to become businessmen and women in the black community. Somebody talk black to me. We have to be able to create our own jobs, and we need to stop working for white folks, and we need to start building back up Black Wall Street here again, so that we basically will have a economic engine, and so that we basically, if we need money, that we will have the money pool in order to fight for justice. And also when one of these race soldiers, put one of us in jail, for no apparent reason or filed charges, that we get the money pool to basically, or the businesses and all that can come together in the black community to get them off when these race soldiers try that game.
We did that, of course, with our brother who uh, Grandmaster Jay. I think they are dropping charges against Grandmaster Jay. As I last heard of an update, that he was trying to go back. He went to his first or second court appearance, and I think the charges they said was going to be dropped the last time I heard. So, but listen to his interview so we can see where he stands as well. Also, we're following the closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin trial. That is the white police officer who was on the knee of George Floyd. We're following him. So the black media has been on it. We have basically have been steadfast. We've been the only one covering these stories as they should be covered. And we basically is trying to eradicate the white supremacist media, but they bring these bootlicking Negroes on here to basically on their programs to try to escape away and get around and beat around the bush about what's really going on in the society in which they're basically discriminating against blacks, doing all kinds of things against us, and we're sitting here just biting our tongues like ain't nothing happening to us. Somebody talk black to me. So we got to be able to educate our people on what's going on because, like I said, the white supremacists are desperate. And the month of April, it is always the month that the white supremacists like to shine and show their behind. We thank you for tuning in to the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Join us next Thursday, the same place and same time. We're going to always be giving you the black business. Take care.